Welcome to the Sin Bin Podcast, your home for all the news, analysis, and discussion around your Bloomington Bison.
Let's drop the puck and get started.
And just a brief interruption before we begin today's episode of the Sin Bin Podcast. This episode was filmed about a week and a half ago. It took me a little while to edit it, and some other personal things came up, so I wasn't able to complete the episode in time, and obviously some of the things in this episode will be out of date. Specifically, the finals matchup in the ECHL has concluded as of now. Congratulations to the Trois-Rivières Lions. Both me and Mike got that prediction incorrect, but when we're talking about it in this episode, just understand this is a little out of date. That is my apologies. It took me a little longer to edit this one. Even though it's a little out of date, hope you all still enjoy. Thank you.
Welcome back to episode 13 of the Sin Bin Podcast. I'm your co-host Dylan Skeen here with Michael Eganhouse once again for your mid-summer month 1 update video. We are into the Kelly Cup playoffs, and we'll talk a lot about that. But before we get fully into that, we have a special guest on this episode. This is Buster, my new beagle. He'll be on the podcast occasionally. He's hiccuping right now, so give him a little credit. But
he is a Blackhawks fan. If anyone's wondering,
if you can't see, he has a Blackhawks jersey on. He is absolutely a little Hawks fan. But beyond our special guest, we'll get right into the start of the talk of the Kelly Cup playoffs because, man, it's been crazy. We're already at the finals. 1 month in, we're already at the final matchup, and we both got it half right. We both knew that the Walleye were going all the way, or at least going to the finals. And sure enough, both of us predicted that correctly. But both of us had the Stingrays going far.
Big letdown.
And
letdown.
We can talk about the first round then. We'll start off with that series. Stingrays against the Solar Bears. And wow, what an upset by the Solar Bears. They're one of my favorite teams other than the Bison in the ECHL just because of they get a crazy crowd every time. The Chicklets guys used to always do stuff with the Solar Bears. It's pretty cool. And I always kind of liked their team, didn't really follow them too much, but beating the South Carolina Stingrays this year after they were just on a 17-game winning streak heading into the playoffs.
That's a heck of a performance.
You know what? I'm giving credit to the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, too. Not all the credit, obviously, but a little bit, because they're the ones that beat them right at the end of the season. So they couldn't have an 18-game win streak and go through the playoffs. They had their final game be a loss, and I'm gonna be honest. I think that affected the team. I think that loss kind of affected them, and I mean, obviously they then lost 4 games out of 7 after going 17 out of 18.
It's kind of that battle. I feel like people always argue oh, is it better to sweep a team in the playoffs and have a long drought or long break before you play another one? And I feel like it's kind of similar. Do you want to keep winning and get that 18-game win streak and keep it going, or do you need kind of a reality check? Because it's not going to last.
Oh, it's not going to last forever.
But I feel like, yeah, you're onto something there. They wanted to keep it rolling, but they got a reality check, and it turned out bad.
All of the hot streaks going into the playoffs this year have been duds. Even the Blues, if you remember them at the end of the year for NHL, they were on a huge 14-game win streak, then went 6-4 in their last 10 or something, where we're still really on a hot streak near the end of the year, and then lost in the first round with a crazy Game 7 against the Jets. So it's kind of been all of the teams that look really good going into the playoffs losing 7.
They're making me look bad, Dylan. I think I said on the last episode, if you get hot at the right time, it could be good for them. They got hot.
Well, they got hot just a little early.
A little too early.
Just a little too early. If they could have won those 17 out of 18 2 weeks later, they probably win the Kelly Cup. But unfortunately, that has not happened for the Stingrays. So Solar Bears advanced. The other one in the South was the Everblades versus Icemen. I didn't really have too much of a stake in this game, and I don't think you necessarily did either. But the Everblades ended up winning because, of course, they did.
It's the Everblades.
It's the Everblades. I was really worried about them going on a run again this year, and they kind of did, but thankfully they're not in the finals this year. That's all I'm happy about, really. Then moving on, we were one of the ones we were against each other on, the Trois Rivières Lions versus the Reading Royals. I said the Lions, you said the Royals, and boy, am I laughing right now because the Royals got swept in 4.
Yep.
And you had them going to the conference final.
Yep. No, just lay it on me, Dylan. Lay it on me. It's all good.
Oh, I have counted all of I've made a whole point system for our brackets where if you get a point if you guessed the team correctly that was winning, and then you also get a point if you guessed the amount of games correctly.
I got -2 on that one.
You only get the point if you guess the game correctly if you already got the team correct. Like you don't if you get the games correct but it was the wrong team, then no. So we'll go in there and I'll give that mathematical breakdown in a little bit, but let's just keep going through the first round first. Wheeling Nailers against Norfolk Admirals. Now here's where you get to lay it on me because I had the Nailers winning that, and sure enough, the Admirals came through and
I was
nearly
texting you that whole series.
Oh, you were roasting me when they were up. I think 3-0 because I think the Wheelers won game 4 and then lost game 5. But yeah, when they were up, you were just the Admirals win again. I'm like, dude, it was one series. I didn't even give him smack for the Royal series because I forgot we even bet against it on that one. But no, he was up in my mentions during that and going, hey.
I was civil about it. Just
oh,
so
you
y'all
were
know.
civil.
I was civil about it.
You were civil.
We fight, but we're
playful.
cool. We're cool like that.
Like this guy. He fights, but he's
Exactly.
playful. Then moving on, obviously Walleye Fuel. We don't have to talk about that one. Easy sweep. We nearly all projected that. I just for parity's sake, we both said 5 and 6, and it just ended up being 4 against the Fuel. We thought after the Fuel did so good against the Bison that they were going to put up a fight, and they just got absolutely stomped in the first round. The Fuel it was a clear difference.
I really did think that they were going to put up
I did too.
a decent fight.
I thought they were going to be. I mean, if they were able to really put down the Bison and a couple other good teams.
Like you talk about getting hot at the right time. Like we talked about the Stingrays.
The Fuel did the same thing.
But they got hot
just right too early
at the end.
But the problem is, if they didn't get hot right before the playoffs, they wouldn't have made it into the playoffs.
True. That's
so
true.
They needed to get hot in the playoffs, but they wouldn't have been able to do that if they didn't get hit hot before. And and it can't last forever. Last first round series was the Fort Wayne Comets against the Iowa Heartlanders. I'm so glad the Heartlanders lost. Oh man, you were betting Heartlanders, but I didn't want the Heartlanders to lose so that I could rub it in your face. I wanted the Heartlanders to lose because I hate the Heartlanders.
Well,
and I
think we share. I think all of us share common ground on that one.
Yeah, and thankfully they did in fact lose. They lost in 7. I thought the Comets were going to do it to me. I'm like, I swear, if you blow this, you got it. And sure enough, Comets ended up winning in Game 7.
You got to appreciate Game 7s. I'm just going to put that out there before we're done. But
we had
any series that goes to 7 games, I mean...
We only had 2 series in the first round go to 7, and they were both pretty good. And those are actually the only 2 series in the playoffs to go to 7. So, yeah, you got to appreciate when you have it. Then... The first round for the Mountain Conference, we'll go through that quickly. Mavericks beat the Oilers in 6. I had the Mavericks, you had the Oilers. Wichita Thunder and the Tahoe Night Monsters. We both bet the Night Monsters, and we were both correct, but neither of us kind of predicted how. We all predicted, I think both of us predicted 6 and 7. They won in 4.
Wow.
The Night Monsters swept the Thunder as an inaugural year team. Yeah, that's crazy. So good for the Night Monsters. What happens next is not so fun, but we'll get to that. Back to the South Conference for the second round, and the Everblades, shockingly enough, ended the fun storybook Cinderella run for the Solar Bears. It was so nice after they beat the Stingrays. I was like, they're going to go on a run, and nope, the Everblades just squashed their dreams right there. And of course they did, because they're the Everblades.
Do you think that would happen in real life? This is totally off topic, but a gator versus a bear.
A gator versus a solar bear?
Yeah, who wins?
Or, I mean, if it's like a polar bear, which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Like if you put a gator and a
think-
polar bear in a cage, who wins?
Oh, just who wins if those two are fighting?
Yeah.
Easy polar bear. Easy polar bear.
Okay.
Depends on the alligator, I guess, but polar bears are
ridiculous.
Yeah, they are.
You ever heard the saying for bears, what you're supposed to do when one attacks?
Probably, but I don't
If it's
pay
brown,
attention.
lay down. If it's if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. Because if it's black, if you make big, loud noises, it'll run away because it's a black bear. But if it's a grizzly bear, that's not going to work. You got to pretend to play dead or it's going to kill you.
There you go.
Neither way you're going to run away or climb up a tree away from them because they can do both.
I'm doing neither.
The addition to that saying is what people say if you're in colder temperatures, and they say if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If you're white, well, shite.
I have not heard that before. That's pretty good.
You're pretty screwed. Polar bears are ridiculous, but a little fun off-topic tangent there. If they were actually fighting, I think the polar bear wins. But in hockey, the Gators advanced to the conference final for the fourth year in a row. On to the north, the Trois-Rivières Lions stuffed the hopes and dreams of the Norfolk Admirals. You had the Royals winning this series. For all of the smash trash talk for the Admirals, you didn't even have them making it past the second round against a team that also didn't make it that far.
Well, like you said, everyone's run had to come to an end.
Oh, mine wasn't too good either. Don't worry. I mean, my entire South bracket was busted once the Stingrays lost. Admittedly, both of us.
Part of me truth be told though, that that first round, I just wanted to go against you.
Really? You just wanted to.
I didn't really have super duper high hopes, but I was just like, yeah, you know what?
Contrarian.
Let's
advocate.
go just contrary to what Dylan says and see what happens.
Honestly, it's not a terrible betting plan. If you're trying to bet on things, going against what I say is probably a pretty good idea, but I don't know. No financial advice. Though my financial advice is to not listen to me. The Toledo Walleye against the Comets in that second round. Walleye won. We both predicted that as well, whoever won that series, and they won in 6. And I think I guessed those games correct, too, so I'll have to check. But so Walleye win. Honestly, no surprise there. We kind of guessed when we were talking about it. Like, it's going to be hard to beat them in a series. We only thought maybe the Bison could give them a run, but that's kind of because we're homers. But the Walleye, we kind of knew they were going to win the Central. They were just too good this year. And then the Mountain Conference, second round against the Night Monsters and Mavericks. After they did so good and they swept in the first round, something that's actually not too common to see with sweeps. You sweep someone in the first round and then you get swept in the next round.
Talk about a heck of a turnaround.
Yeah. Well, I've talked about this a little bit before on the podcast, but rest actually can be bad in the playoffs for some teams, and we've talked about that, especially for like when the Bison got their rest. It actually hurt them during the regular season when they needed it right before that big stretch. But the Mavericks against the Night Monsters, I think I'm thinking of like the 2021 playoffs where I forget who the Jets swept, but they swept the team, and then they immediately faced the Canadians and got swept. And it's just a thing that like you kind of see happen more than you'd expect, because like, if a team's so good to sweep a team, how are they bad enough to get swept? It's like, well, no, it's more of like a rest thing and a mental thing. If you just won 4 games and then you start off your next series losing, it's not a great mental position to be in.
The momentum swings in all of sports, but I think particularly hockey can be insane.
Oh yeah.
Like, you could, like you said, you could win 4 in a row and be feeling great, and then you lose that first game in the second round or whatever round it is, and you're like, your whole season just turns around in a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah, it can definitely be crazy, but they got swept. So your final 4 was the Everblades, the Mavericks, the Walleye, and the Lions. And we just finished up those series yesterday as the Lions completed the win against the Everblades 4-2. They won every single game. They were at Florida, which is huge.
That I'll tell you what, right now, going into the Kelly Cup final, remember that stat.
Yeah.
Because teams that can win away in the playoffs
are
usually go very, very far, if not win it all.
Yes, they do. And the Lions just beat the team that just won 3 straight,
in 6 games while beating them at their home barn the majority. The last night, 6-0. That's absolutely insanity. I mean, that's crazy, but oh well. Now that we've gone through it all, we've got our Kelly Cup final matchup. We've got the Lions versus the Walleye. We'll talk about who we think are going to win, but let me first count up our points and see how many we got. So hold up.
Put in the comments who you think's gonna win this battle, or who you want to win, I should say. If you have a favorite, you know. We're both pretty cool though.
All right. So that's there. That's only 2 there, so it's 8, and then 9. And then for you have, because I have 6 points in the first round, only 1 in the second. Or actually, no, I have 2 in the second because I predicted the Walleye correctly, the amount of games. And then I got the Walleye correct, so I got 9 points in total. Then your first round, you had 1, 2, 3. You had 4 correct and 1 that had the correct amount of games. So you have 5 points in the first round. Then a 6th in the second, and a 7th and an 8th. And an 8th in the conference finals because you guessed the Walleye in the correct amount of games. But you ended with 8. I ended with 9.
Ooh, that's close.
So
that is close.
We are 1 point difference. So that's pretty close. I think it could come down to our what our final matchups are. And obviously you said the Stingrays, and that's not going to happen. Well, I said the Walleye. So even if the Walleye just somehow managed to win, I would win. But we're going to make a re-up guess because obviously we're re-recording the podcast. So we have the 2 there. Who do you think is going to win the Toledo Walleye versus the Trois Rivières Lions?
See, this is tough because who do I want to win? I want the Walleye to win.
I want the Walleye
because I want
to
them
win,
to represent our division.
Central Division, best division.
Looking at the playoffs as a whole, the Lions are playing their butts off right now.
Yeah, they're doing. I mean, to beat the Everblades was a huge thing. I mean, the Solar Bears managed to beat the Stingrays of all teams, and then they almost got swept by the Everblades. The Everblades then lost to the Lions, and again, we talked about just a few minutes ago how obviously just because a team wins against a better team and then loses does not mean that that team is better than everything. Obviously, series differ, teams differ in style, stuff like that. But it is pretty crazy that we know the Everblades are that good, and the Lions just able to dispatch them in 6 at their own barn a lot of the time is going to be huge for the finals.
That's going to say a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Because I think game 1, let me check. But if I go to the schedule here, playoff series. Oh, come on. Be nice. Yeah, the Kelly Cup Finals, the first game is at Toledo. So I think game 1 is going to be huge for that series.
Yeah.
Because if the Lions can get a win away to start off the finals, that's going to be big. That's this Saturday, the 31st. And then game 2 is Monday. But I think specifically that first Saturday game is going to be huge. Because
that's always the biggest key, right?
Yeah.
If you're an away team, you're going into it saying we have to steal at least one game in their barn. If not, try and get both of them.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with what my heart wants, and I'm gonna say the Toledo Walleye pull off the win, and they get their Kelly Cup in 7.
I have the exact same prediction. It matches my initial one. When I initially said it, I thought it was going to be against the Stingrays, but I said I think the Walleye are good enough right now, and I think they could win. It's not going to be easy, but I think they're going to win it in 7. And the points that you brought up against them being so good away, all this stuff, I think that is going to play a big factor, but I think the Walleye are going to be able to overcome it. I think it's just going to take 7 games. So I'm sticking with my original prediction. We both have the same prediction, so because of that, I guess I'll just take the bracket series.
Take your crown, sir. We need a championship crown.
We need a championship crown for the playoff series, correct, Guesser?
Yes, we do.
We're gonna have to find one of those, but
it can be the chain. It can be the chain.
It can be the chain.
It can be the chain.
We will get that. I don't know when we're getting that, but pretty soon it should be.
Very, very soon, actually. He texted me a couple weeks ago and said it should be done. But
both of our schedules have been so crazy recently. We haven't been able to do like
I'm so
anything.
sad. Okay, really bad tangent as we get near the end of this episode. But I was on vacation last week, and it was awesome because it was like 85 degrees and sunny every single day. I'm not happy to be back in Bloomington normal. I'm just letting you all know because it was like 65 degrees and we were like, oh my God, it's so cold. It was terrible. But
you already turned into a summer freak by a couple days there.
And I'm sunburnt. But
I'm sunburned too. I was working some baseball games, and oh man, I didn't realize. I mean, I had sunscreen out there. I lathered up a few times, but like even then, it got me a little bit. My face started getting more tan. I was like, oh boy, my nose started to hurt. I still got like a little bit of red, looking like a Rudolph out here.
Hey, look at my head, y'all. I look like Rudolph on my head. But anyway, that's enough Rudolph talk. Back to the hockey stuff. I will say, I'm very excited that we're getting back to this going. It's always fun to talk hockey.
Oh yeah. We definitely got to do this monthly for sure. Getting our stuff in. Obviously, I've had a few new obligations as of recently because of our friend here who's pretty sleepy during this podcast, but probably for the good thing.
You know the other news that we haven't said?
The best, I should say. What's up?
And a big, you know what we haven't talked about yet?
What's that?
Andy Zilch.
Oh, how could we forget? Well, moving on to the team news before we do wrap up, and other than announcing the regular season schedule, which we do now have the full regular season schedule, the opening game will be on October 18th. It's a Saturday, and it's against the Heartlanders. Ooh.
If you thought the inaugural season was starting off with a banger.
Oh, man. Against Smart. Whoever scheduled it. Smart. My only thing I didn't like about the schedule was the Greensboro Gargoyles have just gotten into the league. That's the Chicklets team. And they're not playing the Bison in their first season. I mean, they're in a completely different division, so like it's not crazy. We don't play every team every year, but it was just like I wanted to see
nice
the inaugural
though. Like if you put the two, like
inaugurals.
We're going into our second year, but like put the newer teams.
Like why
together,
did we never
cool.
face the Night Monsters this year? Like we should have faced the Night Monsters at some point. That would have been cool. Put the inaugural ones together.
Oh no, I was gonna say we did, but it was Utah.
Yeah, we played the Grizzlies 3 times. We had a whole weekend series against the Grizzlies. But other than that, we have that opening thing. But our second thing we're going to mention, Andy Zilch, the commentator, has been named president of the Bloomington Bison. Andy is a great friend of the show here, and we love seeing that. He's going to do a great job with the Bison. Already heard great things.
Absolutely. Big congrats to you, Andy. That's an awesome
serious
awesome
shout
move.
out to Andy for that. That's huge. Congratulations, and we're excited to see what the Bison can do under Andy as president, especially in the second year. We're going to have a more stable team. I'm excited to see after the Kelly Cup Finals end, we should start seeing more news. Right now is the absolute dead part of the offseason where if your team is not in the playoffs, it's just kind of like there's nothing happening. Yeah, it's not much to do. It's the same thing with the NHL and the AHL right now. Even with the Hawks, we talked about like the head coach got hired, but that's like literally all that's happened because free agency hasn't started, the playoffs haven't ended. So that's the main thing. You got to wait until the playoffs end. Once the Kelly Cup Finals are concluded, likely it'll start getting into free agency season. You'll start hearing contract talks.
The more news
more
picks up,
season,
the more we'll pick up.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So the more that happens, we'll be on more. There's just been so little as of late that even this episode's only going to be about 30 minutes at max. So we're going to be here to update you on everything that there is. There's just not as much, but we hope you guys are excited for that for this Kelly Cup final because we know we sure are for the Lions and the Walleye.
Make sure before I forget to say this, make sure to go to the Bison website, get your season tickets. I can't remember the exact number. I don't know if you knew this, but they already have outsold the number of season ticket holders from last year. So
nice.
By like a significant amount.
That's great.
I can't remember the exact number, but
love to hear
y'all are the reason that they're selling that. So go get your season tickets. Go to their
They're
website.
worth it. They're worth
Call
it.
the box office. Whatever you need to do, just go get them. Because who doesn't want to see a Bison Heartlanders opening series?
Oh my gosh, I do. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna be there for sure, guaranteed. I'm definitely gonna be at that opening game. So come watch. It's gonna be a great time, as it always is. But that's in October. We still got. Again, we'll give you as much news as we got, but for now, that's it for this episode of the Sin Bin Podcast, wrapping up episode 13. Before we finally sign off, though, we have our question of the day.
Oh, I would have forgot about that.
We're not forgetting again. We've been too bad at forgetting those. But it's an easy one today.
Okay.
Because there's only one thing on the minds of everybody in the ECHL world right now. Who is winning the Kelly Cup? Is it the Trois Rivières Lions or the Toledo Walleye? My guess is our comment section is going to be filled with Walleye because we've faced them. And anybody who went to the opening game knows how good that team is. But it would be kind of fun to say, yeah, we lost our inaugural game, but we also lost it to the team that won the Kelly Cup that year.
Yep.
So, like, it's a little more understandable. And, you know, I got an inaugural season puck and a little, what is it?
Keychain?
Not keychain, the towels they gave out on that inaugural day. And I'm like, yeah, no, you know, they faced the eventual cup winner in that game. I'm going to be a snotty douchebag about it, but
Stay tuned for those episodes.
oh yeah, for sure. It'll be fun for at least me. So that's it for this episode. Make sure to drop down in the comments whether you think the Lions or the Walleye are going to win the Kelly Cup, and we will talk to you guys when more news arrives.
Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. Help us out. We'll be back.